Hi everyone. Today I will be discussing a quick and easy way to unwrap a cylindrical shape that is not a perfectly straight tube. This would include like a coiled cord, a pipe that curves, flares out, or tapers in. I've seen up and coming artists who are unaware of this quick and easy method use, for example, automatic projection to unwrap and then manually stitch it together, moving UVs as needed, but very time consuming. Well, this best practice will definitely speed up your workflow. So I'll get into it. This is an assembly where I have a component box here that is on my ArtStation as well. It has some control panels with dials. But to get to the point, here is this cable here, for instance. Now, this usually is created by extruding a face or a NURBS circle along a spline or a curve. And when you do that, it automatically does lay out the UVs to the point where you only have to unfold vertically or horizontally. But let's say this comes in just in a haphazard way. So let's say you find yourself with this. Okay. Now that not only applies to this mesh here, to this cord, but let's say you also want to do the edges of this piece. If you were to automatically unwrap that, you're going to get pieces like this. Now, what starting artists usually do, new artists, is that they'll do something manually like this. And it's very time consuming. I myself also did this before I learned of a better way of doing it. So imagine doing this for a more complex piece where you just don't have that little curve up here, but many curves. So I will be showing you the best practice for that. So let's go back to this cord. I have an extra piece here that I'll go ahead and delete just to illustrate this. So this cord, okay. So for example, just like I mentioned, if you wanted to do this manually, this would be just a headache and very time consuming. So what's the better method? You pick the cord, select it. In the UV editor, you go to Modify, and there is Unitize, the Unitize command here. Now, what this will do is it'll unfold every polygon into the 0 to 1 square. So all these quads are now overlapping each other in the 0 to 1. Now, obviously, that's not what we want. The trick here is to then convert this selection to edges. Okay, I have a shortcut here in my custom shelf, but if you want to find it in the menu, you would go to Select, Convert Selection to Edges. Okay, it's converted it to edges, and there's 3 things that you would want to unselect because that's not what you would want to move and sew. The first one is one end of the cord. The second one is the other end of the cord. And then, very important, one seam that runs along the whole length. Now, I will show you what happens if that's not done. So move and sew. This is what would happen. if we don't do that. It just it sews it in a sort of cylindrical fashion, if you can sort of picture it in your mind. It stitches everything where it doesn't leave a cut as if it was fabric and you were unwrapping it. So you need a seam that runs down the whole length. That's where the scissor would cut a piece of fabric. In this case, this is where we would cut. So I'm going to undo that, and then we need a seam to unselect. So this seam, let's use that. This runs along the whole length, and this is where you would cut with a scissor if this was a piece of fabric, let's say. Now we're going to hit Move and Sew, and there you have it. So it has stitched the whole thing in a very straight fashion. Now it's obviously much bigger than we'd want, so I'm going to go ahead and shrink that, bring it to the center here, and what we want to do also is, well, that really needs to, I was thinking tileable textures, but I'm going to just leave it here so we can see it much easier. Okay. I'm going to select the whole thing, all the UVs, unselect just one end, and this looks like it just needs to be unfolded vertically. So what I do is, again, Shift, right click, unfold. I always pick the dialog box because, you know, it lets me see all the options I have. Here, I'm going to have this selected. All the pins that are unselected, or are the UVs that are unselected, get pinned. And what that means, it doesn't move with this operation. I want to stretch this vertically, so I'm going to hit vertical, apply. So it's done its best calculation of unwrapping this for accuracy. So this is the result that you get. You can put this to the side if you want to include that as part of a larger texture, or you can fill the 0 to 1 space if you're using a tileable texture on its own. But that is the easier method to unwrap a cable. It also works for, like I said, say I want to unwrap these edges, but I don't want to manually straighten these out. So I'm going to go here, select the whole edge. This one I actually mirrored, so I'm just gonna do it up to this midpoint line. There we go. So currently it's unwrapped. Well, actually no, I did do an automatic wrap on it. I'm gonna go ahead and unitize, and to see it better, I'm just gonna go delete the whole the rest of it for now. So now that it's unitized, it's actually much easier to select these edges, all the edges that connect the whole line, let's say. So I'm going to unselect the ends, just like we did with the cord. We unselect the ends, and there are no other sides to this. It's just one strip. unlike the cord. So we don't have to select the central seam. It's ready to just sew, move and sew. So there we go. It always blows it up much bigger because it's going with the unitized scale. So I'm just going to reduce the size here real quick just for visualization purposes. Your textile density may be a specific amount depending on your project. I'm just doing it randomly so we can visualize it. Now I'm going to select all the UVs except one end. Go to unfold, and it looks like we have to unfold it horizontally. So I'm going to hit horizontal, and there we go. I'm going to bring it back to the 0 to 1 space, and it has, I have now unfolded it and it's a straight strip, as opposed to having had to do it with an automatic unwrap and then having to manually straighten this out. So I hope that is helpful. This will come in very handy when you're doing cords, edges of panels. This one in particular would be a nice one to do as well. All the edges here can be unitized and then unfolded. But if you found this helpful, please leave a comment. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And I hope this helps in your projects. It's a neat little trick to increase efficiency and speed. And as an up-and-coming channel, any likes and subscriptions would be greatly appreciated. It would be my honor to encourage new artists to improve their workflows and knowledge of any facet of creative design. You can do anything, and my channel and other channels will be here to help.